What up? DJ Eclipse right here.
O.C. What's good?
It's crazy. I mean, me and O, we
go
kind of
back.
we kind of came up in the industry. I mean, obviously both of us were doing hip hop prior to the industry, but like, '94 is when I started working at Wild Pitch, and that's when he got his deal at Wild Pitch. So
The biggest deal at Wild Pitch ever.
Yeah.
Because Wild Pitch, I think, wasn't signed to a major distributor at the time.
Right.
Before that.
But
when I came on board, it was EMI, right?
Yep.
And it was history from there, man. E went on the road, took me on the road, made sure everything was good. And, I mean, he's a part of my history. You know what I'm saying? I don't mention Search too much, not because, my mind just be all over the place. But if it wasn't for Search, man, I wouldn't be on, period.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't know that. If it wasn't for Search, it'd be no Nas. You know what I'm saying? We was both signed to Searchlight Music. And he did the video to Time's Up. He oversaw the album, Word Life, everything. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to give him the most high credit, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be on.
Word. Same thing for me. I mean, Search gave me an opportunity to start working with him. And that was actually how I made my connect from South Carolina to New York, was just working with him, doing beats for him, DJing for him, along with my man Riz. And so Search is the thread that kind of connects us all. But, just jumping back real quick to the industry, I mean, that was, the mid to late 90s was a great time, as far as I'm concerned, for the industry. That's when, like, as a DJ, we would always go up every week to all the labels and go do record runs and go up and see every single, person in the radio department or the A&R department and just get whatever the newest, white label was. And everyone was just cool. Everyone was like, everyone knew each other. It was just a cool time. And honestly, it's like, I feel like what we do now is outside the industry. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't conform to, what's going on within labels or anything like that. It's like we're on our own time. We do our own touring, our own, schedule for putting out music. It's our own world now, and it's just like, and we live and survive within that.
And if we actually knew then what we knew now, I wouldn't have never signed to a label.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you look at the situation with the record companies now, it's just, I mean, kids don't hardly even need them. You know what I'm saying? They come after the artists now. They really come after the artists, because the artists are making their own creation, their own buzz, everything. And, for me, the industry, I don't even know if that should even be the name anymore.
Right.
I don't know what other name we could come up with, but it's just different. You know what I'm saying? And you need a college radio, Biggie, Nas, Jay, all these big artists, the few that are left in here today, needed college radio. You needed college radio.
Right.
You couldn't be a commercial artist without college radio. But college radio was just like, you know what I'm saying? You have few and far between college stations, and it's a social media age now. You know what I'm saying? So that's the difference.
Like, there's so much history. It's unfortunate that sometimes the powers that be don't understand the influence that stations like that have, or even here in New York. We have WKCR 89.9, which the show itself is still up and going, but the legacy of what it was when you had Stretch and Bobbito doing it, and then they passed it down to Sucio Smash and his Squeeze Radio, and that was connected to the Stretch and Bob show. And then they got rid of Squeeze, and they just totally like changed up the format, and it's like, it's not even like a mix show anymore. It's kind of like someone up there with an iPod just kind of going through music.
Exactly.
And it's unfortunate that sometimes the staff of the schools, they don't understand like what came through them doors. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, and I'm still on 89.1 on NYU. I'm going on actually 16 years next week. And for me, that's why I still do it, is because I think it still means something. It means something to me and to the people that I came up with, and I'm hoping that the people that still do listen catch something from it and understand that this is the way it's supposed to be done. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and use this as a standard to kind of set against everything else that you hear out there.
It's like E said, man. If they understand what came through them doors, the feet, the people, it's like using they use the light for the evidence. For blood.
Oh, yeah.
If they had one of those lights for all the feet that stepped through the doors, you know what I'm saying? Like, we'll be guilty. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so much history that then came through. I'm kind of bitter at New York. I can't even front, because New York it's a different beast now. You know what I'm saying? What I expect is not happening. You know what I'm saying? And you carry on tradition don't mean you have to do what you did in the past, what your people did in the past, but you look back at the tradition and you make it bigger. You know what I'm saying? And New York is just, I'll say it, New York is shit now.
Mm-hmm. And that's on a mainstream perception. You know what I'm saying? Because there's always stuff, coming out of here that's on a more underground indie level, but it's just not what's being looked at from the world as what's being represented out of New York. And like you said, I mean, it ain't nothing about. I always tell people too. It's like everyone's like, oh, you like or you listen to you playing that boom bap stuff from the '90s, and it's like, to me, that era was kind of where like that's where the bar was raised up to, with the beats, with the rhymes, everything prior to that, from the early '80s to the mid '80s to the late '80s to the early '90s to the mid '90s, everything progressed. And you saw it go from drum machines to samples, and you saw the rhymes go to rock chem, and then it got everything got stepped up. And to me, the music that you hear now on a mainstream level hasn't surpassed where that has left off. So it's not about trying to revisit those years. It's about trying to just at least adhere to those standards. If you're not going to do better than that, at least try to be right there with it. A lot of the artists that are being played on mainstream radio here that are coming from New York, you wouldn't know. You know what I'm saying? It's like by listening to their music, you would never know they were from New York. They have music, they have a sound that's inspired from like the South or like just not from here. And there's nothing wrong with any other market. We got love for the South, the West Coast, Midwest, all over.
But take care of your market.
Exactly. We're based here. You know what I'm saying? This is, there's a sound that New York is known for, that gritty, grimy sound. There's, Brooklyn, Queens. There's a certain sound that you expect when you hear artists from those boroughs come out. And it's like, it's what we looked up to. It's what we loved hearing, and it's like, and it's missing now.
Like you said, no disrespect to our down south, Midwest counterparts, but they preserving what they do over there.
That's their sound.
Yeah. But their influence is more prevalent over here than what we have at home.
Yep.
And you have a few people, the Joey Badasses, you have the Troy Aves, you got Torre, you got a lot of dudes that's here, but they're not getting enough light. They're not getting enough exposure.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To quote unquote commercialized radio.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
They're all confined to shows like mine, like premieres, Rosenberg. It's like there's a few of us that have those kind of mix shows that you'll hear those artists, but they're not being played alongside everything else that mainstream music or mainstream radio is playing.
I never dug the label Backpack. I never dug, just my opinion, underground and stuff like that. To me, that's just saying, we sold a certain amount of records, but it's not to say I never wanted to sell 1 million records, but I wanted to do it on my terms. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure a lot of other artists did too. But at the end of the day, man, I preserve what I do. That's all that counts, and I try to, give what I know, educate, as best as I can, you know what I'm saying, and as much as they're gonna listen, at least the younger counterparts.
I'm so out of the loop, like I was saying, like we're not in the industry, so I don't even honestly listen to commercial radio. So it's like every time, if I'm up at my show up on Sirius XM, and like either right before my show or right after my show, I might catch 1 or 2 songs of like what's popular, and I'm like, who is this? What is this? And it's just, it does all sound the same to me. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's all interchangeable. It all like
safe music.
Yeah, it's like nothing. And like I could never imagine hearing a song like that and then feeling inspired to like do something better. You know what I'm saying? Like he's saying, like we would hear records, just from from a producer standpoint or a DJ standpoint. If I heard certain cuts on a record, if I heard Raider do some cuts on a record, if I heard Preem or Show produce something a certain way from a producer or a DJ's ear point, I'm gonna be like, damn, like that's crazy. Like I gotta, I want to outdo that, or try to be in that same level of that. And it's just like all the new stuff that I'm hearing from the artists that we're referencing that the mainstream's playing. I could never imagine hearing that and getting inspired to want to do anything, because I don't think they're saying anything. The music isn't about nothing for me. It's like it isn't invoking anything out of me.
And they're a little disrespectful. They say well, this is played live, and it's like, that sound like shit, man. You know what I mean? I listen to everything. I listen to commercial. I listen to everything just to see what's going on, and just to see what my the younger people are telling me to listen to. Like, yo, oh, you don't listen to this? I was like, check it out, and I listen to it, and it's just like, it sounds like the last record they just played 5 minutes ago.
One thing I feel is that you should never tell an artist what to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like, there's things that I would like to see them do. You know what I'm saying? But like. And I always feel an artist needs to be an artist. They need to be true to themselves. If they make a music that's what they believe in and that's who they are, then whether I like it or not, then so be it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's right to tell someone, well, you need to do this, you need to do that. But it's for the like-minded people. I mean, there are people like those he already mentioned is Rashid Chappelle. There's still people within this tri-state area, Blackistan. There's people that are making music that when you hear them, they sound hungry. You know what I'm saying? And that's to me is like the New York thing. It's like it's a grimy hunger. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because actually I was talking to AG the other day about O's latest project, Ray's Cafe, and we were talking about how laid back and jazzy like the samples are, but O still sounds like classic O over it. Like he didn't change, he didn't go like Sleepy style, on the tracks. It's like he gave you O.C. over those type of vibes, and it fits and it sounds good, and that's something that that's the vibe that's what I'm looking for when I get new music. I'm looking for something that has some emotion to it that makes me get can vibe with it. So
plus that's something we created anyway, man. Like I think we trendset it, like going in all the way back to the Eclipse remix, The Time's Up. We trendsetted a lot of things for people to either not follow, but I'm gonna try to step it up when I do my album, and that's what I did. When I listen to J. Rule, when I listen to Nas, when I listen to whoever dropping the LP, it made me want to step my game up. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's kind of missing outside of
sure.
the Rashid Chappelle's, the Blackistans, the Torres. You know what I'm saying? It was more. It was you couldn't even count the artists on your hands in my era. It was so many. You know what I'm saying? And you had a plethora of artists. Nobody sounded like Smith & Wesson. Ain't sound like me. I didn't sound like Buckshot. You know what I'm saying? Everybody sounded different. Everybody had their own style, from dress to the way they talk. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm looking for too much, being a New Yorker. I mean, this is what we do. This is a way of life. Him wearing a Fearless, this is what we do. We got T-shirts. He probably got an archive of T-shirts, hoodies, sneakers. We've been doing this. Like, I got a goddaughters, nieces, nephews, and they telling me about the number Jordan, like the number 10's number. I'm just telling them, for me, that's the year it came out. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, but y'all not doing nothing we didn't do already. And I heard this from my parents. They said it to me, so now I look back and I say, damn, my moms and pops said the same thing to me. So it's really nothing I can tell them, but it's like we've been doing this and we still doing it because it's a way of life for us. You probably heard the stories. He was a comedian, he was funny, he joked a lot, he got into people's skin. He knew how to do it well. You know what I'm saying? I could recall 96, 97, probably 97, we was on tour in Europe doing the Jewels run, promo run. And he was writing pieces of Ebonics back then. And he would say a couple of lines and I was like, and he was like, that's it. And he'd tuck it back. And I'm like, come on, man. Like he would get me, like he would get under my skin because he'd tell me a line, Kid Coke is a pie, when I'm lifted, I'm hot. That's it. And he'll tuck it back in. But actually, he been crafting that shit for a minute. You know what I'm saying? When I look back on it, I'm like, damn, like he really came into his own. Like listening to Devil's Son as opposed to Ebonics, totally different L. Like he progressed like that fast. You know what I'm saying? To me, he was gonna be one of the greats. I'm just working, man. I'm just working. I'm doing my Jim Kelly shit, man. I'm going with the flow.
But not dying.
Not dying though. You know what I mean? And I'm just having fun with it from here on out, man. Like, and going on vibe, going on instinct, and that's it basically. Ray's Cafe is out, dope project. Go get it if you ain't got it. Download it. You know what I'm saying? And whatever else is coming, I'll let y'all know real soon.
In a similar situation, I mean, the artists I'm working with, there's a new La Coca Nostra EP coming this year. There's a new Q Unique album coming this year, and a new Rashid Chappelle album coming this year. So just be on the lookout for that stuff. What up? What up? DJ Eclipse right here, live in New York, and you checking out NEHip-Hop.com.
Yo, what up? This is O.C. and you checking out NEHip-Hop.com.
And just to say, we always talk about this when we do interviews. In '94, at one point in time, the hottest records that was on Hot 97 that Flex was playing was Craig Mack, Flavor in Your Ear, and O.C. Time's Up. And that for whatever weeks it was that those records came out, they were getting hit equal amount of times. You know what I'm saying? And then in the end, money wins, and Bad Boy was spending millions of dollars, so obviously that took off a lot more than what Wild Pitch was able to do. But just in terms of, if you looked at it now, I don't think you would suspect that those two individuals or songs would have been neck and neck like that. They seem so far removed from each other at this point in time. But it was two totally dope records that had two totally different sounds, styles,
Different vibe,
everything. You know what I'm saying? Nothing was the same about them, and they were both big, as far as I'm concerned, hit records. Down the radio.
I was on tour with Craig for a few shows, and it was just like the response factor. Like, you had half that liked me and half that liked what he was doing, but they respected both.
Right.